what's up guys, Chris here, back with another video. So, a little bit of bad news today. A7 Mark IV is yet another delay. You know, it is what it is. The world's in a weird place right now, folks. It just really is. It's in a weird place right now, and there's going to be some things that just aren't making sense to anybody, and this is one of them things. You know, I get why, you know, there's a chip shortage. You know, silicon and stuff like that need to be used, and they're using silicon more for other things, and it's probably difficult to get all the components to make these chips and stuff like that. So that is what it is. I'm not really going to speculate on all that. But what I can tell you is that I did read an article not too long ago that said that they were halting the production of the A7S Mark III. So if you've been on B&H Photo or Amazon or Adorama or any of these other camera companies right now, nobody has it in stock anywhere. You cannot get an A7S Mark III right now, pretty much, unless maybe on eBay, a used one, something like that. But none of these camera companies, not even the biggest ones in the country, have these things in stock anymore. And I do believe that it is because they're potentially refocusing the building on these things to the A7 III. So if you remember correctly, back when the A7 III came out, sorry, A7 IV, whenever the A7 III came out back in 2018, you couldn't, I mean, the thing was selling like hotcakes. I mean, you couldn't get your hands on one. They were selling out so fast, like you were just on a waiting list pretty much. So I mean, I fully expect the same thing to happen with the A7 IV. Maybe not quite to that level, because I mean, there's so much more. I mean, at the time, the A7 III was revolutionary. You know, it had full frame sensor and it had 4K 30. No other camera at the time really, and you know, in the full frame realm, well, it was really the only full frame mirrorless camera at the time, really. It was just, and the price was so perfect on it. Now there's other, you know, I'm shooting on the Panasonic S5. You know, Canon R6 is a really good option. Other Panasonic cameras, other Canon cameras have come out at Canon R, you know, A7S Mark III, obviously. Nikon Z series cameras have come out since then. So I mean, there's plenty of competition now. So maybe everything's not going to be so focused on this camera. They probably don't need to have nearly as many of them as they did back in 2018, since there are so many other camera companies now that have really great cameras. But I do believe that we will see this before the end of the year. That's my prediction. I think that we will see this camera before the end of the year. Now, can I tell you exactly when? No, I don't. I can't, because Sony is going to find a way to get this camera out. Trust me, because they have to. You know, when I look at the A7 S Mark III, I say, this is the perfect camera. But like many of us that are probably just like me and you know, you can't really justify $3,500. You can't really justify $2,000 either. But I can part ways with $2,000 a lot easier than I can part ways with $3,500. So I do believe that Sony is going to try to do everything they can to make this camera come out this year, because they have to. I'm actually kind of surprised that they even came out with the ZV-E10. I kind of understand why they came out with it, because I do believe that cell phones right now, over the next year, I think into 2022, for sure into 2023, you'll see a lot of cell phone companies come out with 1-inch sensors in their cameras. I believe that when the S21 comes out, or S22, Samsung Galaxy S22, when it comes out, there's already rumors going around that they will have a 1-inch sensor in there, which is going to make all these other cameras obsolete. It is. I mean, you really can't, you know, cameras right now, smartphones right now have made those little like point and shoot small sensor long zoom cameras. It's Canon SH740, something like that, and then I don't know what the hell they're called. Sony makes a couple of them, Panasonic makes a couple of them, but they're like just small censored, with a long zoom on there. And with these Sony camera, the Samsung smartphones, you know, they've got 100 times zooms on them, and they're actually really good. So those smartphones are making those cameras obsolete. So if they start coming with 1-inch sensors on these things, it's going to make the the 1-inch sensor cameras like the Canon G7X and the Sony ARCs 100s and ZV-1 now, they're going to make them obsolete. It really is. It's going to make them obsolete. nobody's gonna buy these anymore because you might as well just do it with your smartphone because they're just as good. And not only that, you know, they're coming out with 4K 60 on these things. They're gonna have the iPhone 12 Pro Max has got high resolution or high what is it called? Bitrate video, high bitrate video. The Canon or Sony, the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, that's got 8K video on it. These small 1-inch sensors can't compete with that. Whether or not they're going to be able to do that with a 1-inch sensor, different story. But we'll see. I'm gonna get back to the task at hand here, the A7 IV. No specs on this one yet, but you can speculate. It's going to have it has to compete with like something like this, the Panasonic S5 that I'm shooting on. It has to compete with the Canon R6. So you're going to get it. You got to have 10-bit video on this thing, right? You got to have at least 4K 60 built-in 4K 60. So I expect those things. I don't expect a new sensor. Maybe a new sensor. But it's still going to be, I believe it'll still be a 24-megapixel sensor because I don't think they want this thing to come up and compete with, and it won't, but it may, in some cases, with the A1. Granted, it's a 50-megapixel sensor, but honestly, unless you're really, really zooming in on these photos, what's the difference between a 30 or 35-megapixel sensor and a 50-megapixel sensor? What is the difference in the A9 Mark II sensor? Obviously you're going to have much faster readouts, and the processor's a lot faster in the A9, and it's going to be, sports shooter camera, 20 frames per second shooting. That's going to be an amazing camera. That's an amazing camera, the A9 Mark II. But they don't want to kind of chip away at that, so it's going to have some sort of drawbacks, right? It's a hybrid camera. This is the hybrid version, so it's going to have great video specs as well as great photography specs. I just can't see this thing having, maybe it's going to have a new 24 megapixel sensor, maybe it'll go up to 26. I can't see a 30 or more. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my personal kind of thought on that. But this is the camera I'm waiting for. This is the camera that I've been waiting for. Now, a few things that I really like about the A7S Mark III. I like the new record button. It's basically, it used to be a programmable button, and they just put a little red ring in the middle of it. It's what I always did. I usually took that exact button when I had a Sony camera, and I changed it to record. Now, on that one, that button is very tactile. When you look at like the A7C and you look at the ZV-1, which are two cameras that I have had, I'm quite sure the ZV-E10 is the same way. Those cameras are very mushy buttons. They're mushy, but the A7S3's got a very tactile button, kind of like this Panasonic S5. I'm hoping that the A7 IV does the same thing, have a nice, very tactile button. Flip-out screen, like I said. I don't necessarily care so much about the new menu system because I'm perfectly fine with the old Sony menu system. It doesn't really bother me. I'm sure a lot of people do want the new menu system, and it probably would be nice, kind of a step in the right direction for Sony to put the new menu system in it, just because it's time to start putting that in everything, I guess. But people are saying the situation with the chip shortage is going to be completely normalized by 2022. I don't know. I don't make these things, so I can't really speculate on that either. So, that is what it is. But we're kind of hoping right now. That's really what it comes down to. We're kind of hoping that we're going to get a really, really awesome camera, and hopefully it comes out in October. This is a camera that I will probably pre-order. If it is available and it does come out, this is definitely a camera that I'm going to be after. My dream kind of setup is to have the A7 IV. Oh, my dream setup is the A7S III with the 24-105 f4. And then the 20mm 1.8. However, like I said, like a lot of people that are probably watching this channel, I can't really justify $3,500 for a camera. I can't, but I could probably part ways with $2,000, $2,200, $2,300. You compare it with the S5. The S5's $2,000 with a lens, probably the best kit lens in the game. When you compare it with the Canon R6, though, that's $2,500, but it also has full frame 4K 60, where this has a crop, and I shoot in 4K 30, so I don't have a crop. But anyways, that's about it for the A7 IV update. pushed back a little bit. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one later.